This is Pastor Ray Frank, Syracuse Wesleyan Church. And today is Monday, June the 2nd, already into a new month. Well, I read a verse out of Psalm 68 this week that's been kind of rolling around in my mind and causing me to think. It's verse 3 out of Psalm 68, "But may the righteous be glad and rejoice before God. May they be happy and joyful." Well, in that one verse, he talks about we're to be glad, we're to be happy, we're to be joyful. Now, I know, there are times maybe you've had the experience that when you were deeply grieving or in a place of sorrow or things were really tough, you got fired or some terrible calamity happened and you're feeling the burden of that and you're going through the process of grieving and you had some well-meaning friend that came and said, "Well, just cheer up, put a happy smile on your face." Well, I hope you didn't slug him, though maybe that's what you felt like doing. But when Christians talk about their emotions, there's usually someone who wants to point out that joy and happiness are two different things. Happiness is the emotional side, and joy is the inward flowing of God's Spirit in our hearts and so forth. And most followers of Christ would agree that Christians should always have joy, no matter if they are in trying times or facing grief and heartache. After all, Jesus himself told us, "I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete." So we're to have joy. And most Christians have some understanding of that and try to apply it to their lives. But what about being glad and happy? Well, is it a guarantee in this life? Can we control our emotions? Well, I don't have times in a 5-minute Monday morning musing to really answer that question. But let me suggest to you that it is something that we should pray about and ask the Lord to guide and direct us in this matter of emotional happiness. I believe there's some truth in the reality that you and I can definitely affect the way we feel by the way that we think. My mentor and friend, Pastor Marion McKellips, when I would be, in gloomy gusts, he would say to me, "Ray, you can feel bad if it makes you feel happy." And I'm thinking, what? But some people seem to be prone to always look on the dark side of things and let the feelings of sadness and sorrow follow them around. But others seem to look on the bright side of things. The old analogy is the glass half full or half empty. So what makes the difference? Is it just because we're born that way? We can't help ourselves? Why does it seem easy for some people to experience happiness and others seem to always be looking on the dark side? Well, I've decided that as much as the Lord will enable me and help me, I want to look on the bright side. Here's how I think of it. One of the great joys of being married to my wife is she's one of those people that sees a bright thing about a lot of things. And I live with a happy wife. Well, I want to give her the same blessing and let her live with a happy husband. I mean, think about it. In that most intimate of relationships, how do you relate to each other? Now, if it's important in that relationship, maybe it's important to all relationships. Now, I'm not talking about pretending, put on a happy smile, and no matter what's going on, those things are important. But think about how you would describe yourself and perhaps how your spouse and children would describe themselves. Am I a happy husband or a happy spouse, or am I a gloomy Gus? Well, I don't think it's just a matter of how we think. I think it's a matter also of what we choose to think about. It can make a great deal of difference. And here's just a few ideas that came to me. As I was struggling over this verse and thinking about it and letting it sort of meditating on it. How can I be glad and happy and joyful? Well, here's a few ideas that came to mind. First of all, think about the things to be grateful for. I've used that illustration many times before. Count your blessings. You know, think about what God has done for you. Dwell on good memories, not past failures. You know, sometimes it's much easier for the past failures to dominate our thinking than we have to intentionally put our minds on good memories of times of God's blessing, of times of wonderful family events or whatever. I contend that everybody has at least some good memories, no matter how dismal your life may have been. Maybe sometimes it's just a matter of getting some rest. You know, if you're always feeling tired, it's much easier to see the negative things of life. Perhaps one of the things you need to focus on is investing in good friendships. You know, our friends can build us up or tear us down. So choose your friends wisely. Now, we're to love everyone. I'm not talking about excluding some people from your life and say, don't bother me, I don't want to talk to you. But your closest friends, your best friends. And friendship takes an investment of time and effort and a willingness to be open and transparent. But choose those people wisely. People that will lift you and encourage you and draw you closer to Jesus. Well, and then, of course, I think most of all, be focused on Jesus himself. I mean, think about the things that Jesus has provided for us: salvation, forgiveness, redemption, restoration, hope, and a future in heaven. I mean, if we just focus on those things, how can we not be happy and joyful and glad? And then pore over scriptures, reading the scriptures so many times. God has used in my life to calm my fears and give me, sort of help realign my thinking and the way I'm thinking about things. It's eternal truth. It's real truth. Well, here's a few verses in the Bible I think would be good to think about. Proverbs says, a happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. Ecclesiastes wrote, the writer to Ecclesiastes wrote, when times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. James wrote in his epistle, is anyone among you in trouble? Let him pray. Is anyone happy? Let them sing songs of praise. Well, here's a closing thought. If you're going to sing, sing with all your heart and sing joyfully to the Lord, and choose to be glad and happy and joyful in him. Well, have a happy week. God bless you.